Thank you, everyone. I want to talk about the law of compassion and understanding and forgiveness. And there's a quote from Albert Einstein that I really like, and I'd like to quote, "A human being is part of the whole, called by us the universe, limited in time and space. They experience themselves, their thoughts and feelings, as something separated from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of this consciousness. This delusion is a prison, restricting us to our personal desires and to affection for a few persons close to us. Our task must be to free ourselves from our prison by widening our circle of compassion, to embrace all humanity and the whole of nature in its beauty." I just love that quote by Albert Einstein. So what is compassion? What is understanding? What is forgiveness? And realize it is the selfless act of realizing that a person's soul, or perhaps your soul, is going through some type of agony or pain or insecurity or fear or anxiety, not fully understood or embraced. It is understanding that your soul was so fully immersed in those emotions that it could not understand why these emotions were occurring in your life. And at the same time, you became a prisoner of those emotions. The observer might only see the pain and the frustration, but you, the one who's experiencing it, feel unloved, unwanted, lost, misunderstood, and alone. In fact, you feel like you're on an ocean without a life jacket, no lifeboat, and totally abandoned. There's an old American native saying that I'm sure you're familiar with, and that says, "Never judge a person until you have walked a mile in their moccasins." And that reminds us that none of us can fully see or understand what another soul is experiencing, rather. And as a result, it is up to us to show compassion and love, to take on a form of simply opening a door for someone, metaphorically, and that door could be the difference between a person walking in darkness or in light. The proverb, "Feed a man a fish, and he eats for a day," or "Teach a man to fish, and he eats every day," also reflects the value of compassion and understanding, and how compassion can lead us to empowerment for the person receiving it. There's a fine line that exists between compassion and understanding and forgiveness, yet I will tell you, for all of us, they are one and the same. The act of compassion and understanding then becomes an act of forgiveness as well. I once helped a friend. He went through a very difficult divorce. In the act of compassion and understanding, he understood that in this relationship it was over and done with, and it would take time that he would heal, and that another door of opportunity would open for him. And at the same time, as I was working with this person, as he had a new relationship, I went over to his house even at midnight to help them be in a harmony and balance with their relationship. And then later on, he was in a great deal of pain, and he asked for help. He had some military injuries that were mental, and I wrote a 30-page report on it for him. And it wasn't full pages, but I wrote it for him, and it helped him to get disability from the military. And then later on, he came to me and thought I was teaching and coaching things wrong, and he couldn't even afford to pay me, and he dropped out and criticized me and judged me. Obviously, at that time, for me, I just didn't want anything to do with him, but I sent him unconditional love. And then I was having my conversation with the True Source about unconditional love, and the True Source's created resources, which is a celestial being. And I happened to be at a psychic fair, and he was there, and I heard, "Well, you teach it, you got to live it and do it." And I walked over to him and said hi, gave him a big hug, and treated him very well. And that I could see a huge lift of emotions, and fear was lifted off him. And that's part of unconditional love and allowingness and compassion. because as I understood what he was going through, he was very much hurt. And I was hurt too at the time, but I realized I turned it over to the true source to be healed. And that's part of the secret of handling things. So what I did was release him from his prison. And I'm sure at some subconscious level, I was also very annoyed. And by doing that, it was a positive healing for both of us. And what we need to understand is sometimes compassion and understanding takes on the form of just listening. And listening to the person just to be there for them to vent and heal. And when that happens, we not only help heal them silently, but you should also be sending them unconditional love. You know, we all want to be rescuers because we arrogantly think we have all the answers without knowing the details. And we are not sure of what a soul is going through. Usually, as I said, this person just wants to be heard so they can vent. And we have to understand that we cannot heal or resolve another person's problem. In truth, anybody who has an emotional problem or physical pain can only heal themselves. They have to be opening to the healing. They have to be opening to the understanding. So when we choose compassion, understanding, forgiveness, we not only perform a great healing for those involved by allowing them to be healed and healing themselves, but more importantly, we end up healing ourselves. You know, it's really important that frustration and anger cause disharmony in our energy fields, which ultimately causes more anger and more frustration, more insecurities, lack of self-worth, lack of self-esteem, and all types of emotions that eventually surface into our bodies in the form of physical, mental, or spiritual illness. Much of the time, these illnesses are like a hot lava and a volcano, waiting just to erupt. And that's what we need to understand, that through the act of compassion, understanding, and forgiveness, we not only heal others, but we heal ourselves. Because hanging on to anger and frustration will fester in us. So I want all of you to understand one perfect thing before I begin to close. And that is that any of us hanging on to frustration, anger, fear, retribution, all it does, by the law of attraction, create more of the same in our life. It imprisons us. It helps us to remain unloved, unwanted, and insecure. And you know, as we hang on to that anxiety, that fear, that doubt, the frustration, the hate, all it does is reproduce itself over and over and over and over again. The secret is to forgive yourself and to forgive them. And forget about holding a grudge. Whatever happened, it was a lesson for you. It was a lesson for you to understand about self-worth and self-love. And whatever they have done to offend you, realize that they're taking out their anger and frustrations. For you see, when a person judges you, they're judging themselves. What they see negative in you, they really are expressing the negativity within themselves. When they're expressing anger and fear, they're expressing anger and fear not only at you, but in themselves. And that's a great lesson for us to understand, because as we are expressing this desire of anger, fear, frustration, hate, it's really all about us. It's about how we feel about ourselves. And just imagine this bizarre example. So I go up to a person, and let's say it's a woman, and she's 5'1", and she weighs 98 pounds. And I believe that's a good weight. And you go up to her and say, "Oh gosh, you look great. I see you put on some weight." And if this person that weighed 98 pounds had a fear of being overweight, that person would turn around, "What do you mean I put on that weight?" And she would attack you and be angry and upset and walk away in a huff and feel hurt. But if she truly loved herself and knew that 98 pounds at her height was the perfect weight for her, she would go, "Yeah, well, Michael doesn't know what he's talking about. I know I'm perfect weight, I'm in perfect health, and I look great." And she would just let it go and move forward. So that's kind of how it works. Maybe when I said that, she weighed 90 pounds and she was like the skinny rail, and now she was at the perfect weight. And that was my compliment, but I didn't say it that way. If I had said to her, gosh, you were so skinny before, and now you're the perfect weight, you look fabulous, she would even be more happy. But because I didn't express it correctly, and she had a fear of overweight, she was angry and would be sending me negative vibes. So the lesson in this is not to react, but to act, meaning watch your words. Be careful of your words. You know, there's a great quote by Cahill Gibran, who is a great poet. And he says the chemist who can extract from the heart's elements compassion, respect, longing, patience, regret, surprise, and forgiveness, and compound them into one, can create the atom which is called love. And all of you need to understand, through compassion, understanding, and forgiveness, remember, your essence. You are an aspect of God, the true source, or as I call the true source. And what is the true source? Unconditional love, allowingness, and non-judgmentalness. So I leave you with that thought. And that thought is, express forgiveness, compassion, understanding, even to the most angry person. You don't have to fall over them. You don't have to go out of your way, but understand them, express the compassion, love, and understanding, and most importantly, forgive them and forgiving yourself. In that act, you become whole and complete once again. So I thank you all, and I'd like to give you the number to call if you wish to listen to this replay. And the replay is numbers 515-739-1309. I apologize. 515-739-1309. That's 515-739-1309. And the access code is the same as call-in, 125-446-pound. That's 125-446-pound. And Kelly, if you're on, is this number 24? I think it is number 24. There are 7 through 24. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Bless you, and we'll talk again next Tuesday night. And remember to email me at drmichaelgross1@gmail.com if you'd like one of the books, and I'll give you a personal inscription in it. And please tell other friends to join us. May you be blessed by the true source with a week of love, joy, and prosperity. And remember, you are unlimited.